Hey, this is Jeremy from Shine Insurance. I'm excited to share with you our first-time home buyer's step-by-step guide. Whether you're a first-time home buyer or you haven't purchased a house in a while, or the last time you bought a house, it just wasn't a very smooth process, you are in the right place. I'm going to break down steps from beginning to end, exactly how the home buying process works. So let's dig right in. What you're going to learn here is you're going to get the inside scoop on new home buying, and we're going to break it down into these 5 parts. We're going to talk about applying for a mortgage. You got to have a partner in the process if you're going to buy a house, making that offer, engaging with the seller, the escrow period, which is a whole bunch of things happen in the escrow period, closing, the period of time where you actually purchase the house, and then we're going to break the mortgage payment down. Mortgage payments obviously are going to be with you for a while, and I'm going to show you exactly the 3 different parts of a mortgage payment. So let's get into it. Fun fact to start with, when I bought my first house, I had absolutely no clue about this stuff. I look back at that time and I bought a really cool house. It all worked out fine, but I really did not have any idea about anything I'm going to talk about in this video. I knew it was a good idea to purchase a house. I went and did everything, and I really didn't understand things like I should have, and this video would have helped me a ton, and I know you're going to be much better at this process than I was. So let's start from the very beginning. And you might think the very beginning is going out and looking for houses. Maybe you're driving around your town looking for houses now. And, that's fine. But the real beginning of the process is knowing whether you can buy a house. I mean, maybe you've got the money to purchase the house. And if you do, this part isn't as important for you. But for the majority of folks, you don't have the finances right there to pay for the house. And so you're going to need a financial partner, someone to invest in this house with you. And mortgage banks that provide home loans are the folks that are generally going to do that for you. So step 1 in the process of buying a new home is applying for a mortgage. You're going to apply for a mortgage so that you know what you have available and what kind of house you can purchase. Generally, you'll get pre-approved to borrow a certain amount of money. So you'll call the bank, and you call the local bank and or the folks online, the 800 number, and they're going to tell you, they're going to ask you a bunch of information, and then they're going to tell you what they feel you can borrow. And the point I want to make here is this is not a for sure, yes, you can borrow this amount of money from us. This is a pre-approval. So they're saying it looks to us at this point like you could borrow this amount of money from us. Later on in the process, they're going to solidify that agreement. And if there are things that have changed in your job scenario or something like that, it is possible for this pre-approval not to go through. I don't say that to make you worry about it. I say that so you understand the process and how it works. Pre-approval is, we think we can loan you this amount of money if all the things that seem to be here right now line up. And so this is a good step in the process, but not the final step in knowing exactly how much you can borrow. If you go to a local place, generally, you're going to get a better sense of exactly what you can borrow, because they're going to ask you a few more details up front and spend a little bit more time with you. So I always advise folks to go to a local bank, a place that is closer to you where you can sit down face to face with someone. But either way works. Just know that it's not 100% sure that you can absolutely borrow that. I also wanted to point out that your interest rate has a ton to do with your credit score. Now, you can go out there online. We've got some great blog posts that tell you all about credit score and how it affects things. It affects your mortgage for sure, affects your insurance as well. You want to have the best possible credit score you can when you go to buy a house, because your interest rate is going to reflect your credit score. Okay, once you're pre-approved, it is time to truly go house shopping. Now you have a sense of how much money you can borrow, how much money banks are willing to invest in your new home as your mortgage. And so you have a real sense of what you can purchase, and you can go house shopping. So you've gone house shopping. Your realtor helped you find the home of your dreams, and you made an offer. Well, what does that mean? It means simply that you put in writing the amount of money you want to buy the house for. That's step 1. Most of us know that that's part of it. And included any contingencies or additional expectations connected with your offer. So contingencies could be things you want the seller to do. The roof is in bad shape. I'm offering you this amount of money to buy the house, but in order for this to go through, you'll have to have fixed the roof before the closing. Or it can be things you want. I'm making this offer for this amount of money, but I want all the furniture. I want the hot tub. I want, whatever things don't generally come with a house, but you've made it a contingency in your offer that for this deal to go through, it will come with the house. So sometimes contingencies are what you want the seller to do before you purchase the house, like fixing things up. Sometimes contingencies are things you want from the seller that maybe they wouldn't generally include in the sale. So those two things, the price you're going to pay and the contingencies, are part of making an offer. The offer's made and the seller decides if they want to do one of two things, if they want to counter or if they want to accept. And we'll start with the thing that happens most often in the first step, which is a counter. The seller will reply to your offer with a different set of price and contingencies. So they may say they want to sell it for a lower price. They may say they want to sell it for that same price, but they don't want to do whatever contingency you asked. All sorts of things can change in the counter. But basically, they're taking those two things, the price and the contingencies, and coming back to you with a different version of what they're willing to do in the sale. And so that's a counter. If they counter you, you have then the choice to counter or accept as well. And so let's talk about accepting, the next step. So at some point, one side or the other accepts, and that is to agree to sell or buy the house based on the last offer presented. So at some point, hopefully in the process, one side says to the other, I accept your offer or I accept your counter, and we have a deal. At that point, we're done with the make an offer part. We've figured out exactly what the sale will look like, what the price will be, and what the contingencies will be, and we're ready to move on to the escrow period. And the escrow period is a period of time between an accepted offer and the closing. So the closing is the actual moment when you purchase the home from the seller, and we'll get to that. But we have, the escrow period to walk through, and tons of ththings happen in the escrow period. So let's talk about what happens during the escrow period. Well, you've got to secure that mortgage that you got pre-approved. Most of the time, there's a home inspection. So someone will come in and really dig into the house, take a deep look at the structure of the home, all that kind of stuff, and do that. We're going to address the contingencies. So if you ask the seller to do something, we need to make sure before closing that's actually done. And we need to get insurance. So those are the things that need to happen before the closing. And then obviously the closing happens at the end when all those things have happened during the escrow period. So let's break into each of those quickly. Securing the mortgage. We're going to go back to the mortgage company now that there's an accepted offer and say, look, you pre-approved us for X amount of money. Let's finalize these details. And they'll want your finances and your W-2s and your work information, all the financial pieces of your world. The mortgage company is going to want to see them because they want to make sure that you're going to be able to pay your mortgage payment. That's what they're trying to figure out. And so all that stuff gets figured out back and forth between you and the mortgage company until the mortgage is secured, until it's really set and ready for closing. So that financial side has to happen, securing the mortgage. Home inspection. A certified inspector examines your home and describes all the structural concerns that he or she notices. So you made the offer on the house assuming you had a solid house in place. Maybe the seller said there was a problem with the roof, or there was something, a lot of times you'll see in the, when you're going through with your realtor will know that there are some issues and they'll tell you about that. But oftentimes in this inspection, we'll find other kinds of issues. Maybe there's termites in the house, or all kinds of different things can come up during the home inspection. And another thing I wanted to say about the home inspection is that this is a point where oftentimes, even though you've made an offer, it's been accepted, everything is in place, a lot of times the home inspection can change the agreement between the seller and the buyer. Usually in the offer, it says contingent on home inspection. And so once that home inspection goes through, if there's major problems, you can say, look, you need to fix this or we're backing out of the deal. And so oftentimes deals fall through at the home inspection point. We need to address the contingencies. So generally the purchase offer is contingent on the inspection. So there may be additional negotiation if the inspection finds issues. I just talked to you about that. But we also, if there's any other contingencies that were part of the offer, hey, we need you to fix the roof, that's going to be a part of the escrow process as well. It has to get done before the closing, so you know that the seller absolutely has done it and has taken care of it so that you can close on the house. Getting insurance. Insurance protects the home, and it protects not only your financial interest in the home, but it protects the mortgage company's financial interest in the home. So the most basic part of insurance is, insuring the structure itself. If it were to burn down or get taken out by a tornado or whatever, suddenly that investment that you've made and that your mortgage company has made is no longer there. And insurance protects that from that situation. So insurance is going to pay to rebuild that house and bring the investment that you have and the mortgage company has back into the picture. And so the mortgage company will insist on you having insurance before the closing. So you need to go out to, hopefully your local independent insurance agent and engage with them on, hey, I'm buying this house. Here's the address. Here's the closing date. Please let me know what information you need, and they will get a quote to you, which you can then hand over to the lender and say, hey, here's the amount of money that I'm going to be paying, or really is going to be paid usually out of my escrow account, which we'll get to later. And they will figure it into the process. And then before closing, you'll have to actually secure that insurance, get a certificate of insurance to your lender so that the closing can happen. So that's all a part of the process, and getting insurance is an incredibly important part of the escrow period. Like I said, insurance is an important part of your escrow account, which I will address later. But that's why they need the numbers specifically. The mortgage company needs two things to close. One is to know you have insurance, to know that their financial interest is protected. But two, they need to know how much that insurance is going to cost so they can figure what your monthly mortgage payment will be because of your escrow account. I know I'm using a bunch of big words there, but I'll get to it in just a second. Okay, and it talked about you getting the policy into place. Your mortgage company needs proof of insurance prior to closing. We got all that taken care of. Okay, so we've secured the mortgage. We've gone through our inspection. We've taken care of all those things. We've got our insurance in place, and we are ready to close on the house. Generally, this is on a given day. Oftentimes, the buyer and the seller will come to the same place, a title company, which is in charge of making sure all this stuff happens, and sit down at the table. And, one side will buy the house, the other side will sell the house, lots of signing of papers, putting things in place. And that is the closing. The date of sale that you actually purchased the house and the seller no longer has any interest in it. So all documents will be signed. Ownership of the house will officially change hands to you. So congratulations, you purchased a new house. But there is a lot of cost involved in specifically that happens at closing. So at closing, you're going to see a lot of costs connected there. So they vary with a lot of different expenses, but here's some of the main ones. At closing, you're going to pay the realtors and the title companies. So you're going to pay everybody that helped you with the buying, selling process. You're going to pay 1 year of your homeowner's insurance. So that will be a part of your closing costs generally, unless you paid that ahead of time. And, a lot of other fees that come with it. So there's a lot of different closing costs. And understanding those closing costs really has to do with you talking to your mortgage broker about how this is going to work. Okay, what are the closing costs? What are they going to look like? Why do I have them? Ask those questions, make sure that you understand, because when you're at closing, there's so many things going on. You're signing these papers, all this stuff is going on. Everybody else knows how to do this. They do this all the time. So they're kind of zooming through it. And if this is the first time when you're sitting at closing that you're trying to understand everything, you're going to end up leaving that room a little frustrated and, feeling like you don't understand. So take a little bit of your mortgage broker's time ahead of time. Sit down with them and say exactly what closing costs are going to be in there and have them break it down for you, and they'll do that for you. So closing costs, part of your closing. So you purchased your house. Congratulations. You get to move in. You get to be happy. You are a new homeowner. You've invested in something that will provide you tons of joy, maybe grow your family, whatever, your future interests are in life. That house that you just purchased has a lot to do with those. That'll be the foundation of where those things happen. So buying a new house and being a new homeowner is super exciting and a smart investment for the most part. And so enjoy it. You've done everything you had to do. It was maybe 3 months of, paperwork and all this kind of stuff. And now you're actually moving into your house. So be happy. But I wanted to break down, at some point, your mortgage payment is going to come out. A lot of times you get kind of a grace period. So the first maybe month you're living in your house, you don't have to pay anything. But, in that second month or maybe the third month, you're going to start having to pay your mortgage payment. And that's generally the same amount of money that your mortgage broker told you from the beginning. It's often right there. But what I didn't know when I purchased a new house, and what I want to share with you right now, is that there are absolutely parts of that mortgage payment that are important to understand. There's 3 parts actually, and that is principal, interest, and escrow account contribution. So you've got these 3 different parts of your mortgage payment, and let's break those down and look at what each one is. So the first one is principal, and this is what you think of in your payment. It's the part of your monthly payment that goes towards paying down your debt. You borrowed $200,000, and every month you're paying a little bit to pay down that debt, and at 30 years or 15 years or whatever you agreed to, you'll have paid down all the money you borrowed. And that's principal. Especially at the beginning, though, that is not the main part of your payment. Depends on how your loan is set up, but oftentimes at the beginning of the loan, the main part is the interest. So this is the part of your monthly payment that goes towards paying the mortgage company for the privilege of borrowing their money. Yes, banks don't do this for free. They make money every month off of it, and oftentimes they front load mortgage payments so that there's more interest being paid at the beginning than the end. And that's obviously set to their advantage so that they make more money whether you sell your house later or not. So you've got the principal, what you're paying down on the money you actually borrowed, the interest, what you're paying the mortgage company for the privilege of borrowing their money, and then the third piece, which is escrow account contribution. So there's a little tiny, basically, bank account that is a part of your mortgage escrow, your mortgage, and it's called the escrow account. And every month you pay a small bit into this bank account that your mortgage company keeps track of. So it covers usually 2 things. It will cover your property taxes and will cover your homeowner's insurance. So your mortgage company likes it to be set up this way because they want to know one of 2 things: that you're paying your taxes, and that your homeowner's insurance is being paid so the home is protected in case something bad happens. They want to know that's happening, and they want to have a little bit of control over that. And the way they've set it up is an escrow account is a part of the mortgage payment. So you're paying to the mortgage company a little bit of money each month, and then when the property taxes need to be paid, the bill goes to your mortgage company, and your mortgage company pays those property taxes or pays that homeowner's insurance out of the escrow account. And so they are responsible for paying the property taxes and the homeowner's insurance, but it's not like they're paying it out of their pocket. They're paying it out of your pocket. You're just paying it as a part of your monthly mortgage payment each month. So you're paying into the escrow account. The mortgage company is paying the property taxes and the homeowner's insurance. And that way they have some control over knowing those things are actually being paid and actually being taken care of. Now, it's important to know that even if you've set up a mortgage that cannot change, that the price cannot change, oftentimes a fixed rate mortgage means nothing is going to change about the principal or the amount of money you borrowed. Nothing is going to change about the interest or the amount of money you're going to pay the mortgage company for the right to borrow that money. Something can change, though, about the escrow account contribution. And sometimes people will, their mortgage company will send them something, hey, your mortgage payment is going up from $1,000 a month to $1,200 a month. And they get all up in arms. And again, this was one of the places that I didn't understand when I bought my first home. I had that happen about a year in. My mortgage payment changed. And it went up by a couple $100. And I was thinking, well, wait a minute. I don't understand this. Why am I paying more money? I made this agreement and I got real frustrated with my mortgage company, but also the person who sold me the mortgage in the first place. Like, what? You set me up for something that, now suddenly it's going up. What I didn't realize was simply that my homeowner's insurance and my property taxes had gone up. And so the escrow account contribution had changed. And therefore, my monthly mortgage payment goes up. So if your monthly mortgage payment changes, it's almost, 90% sure it is your escrow account that is causing the problem. So know that and understand that, and then you can dig into what's actually going on there and see if you can do something to fix it. But, escrow account contribution, for the most part, 90% of the time, is the only thing that can change in your mortgage payment. So know that if your mortgage payment changes on you. And I got ahead of myself there. If you have a fixed rate mortgage, then insurance and taxes are the only real reasons that your monthly mortgage payment amount should ever change. I think I jumped on that one already. I guess I'll say it here again. Now you know. And if your mortgage payment does change, don't freak out. You got to know that it has something to do, most likely, with your taxes or your insurance. Okay, here's a rookie mistake, something that I think that people do sometimes. Hopefully your mortgage broker will be telling you not to do this, but I'm going to tell you not to do this right here as well. Applying for any other loan during the escrow period. Your escrow period, your mortgage is still changeable. If something happens to your credit, something can happen to your ability to borrow money from the bank that you've made the agreement with. All the way up to the closing date, a lot of times mortgage companies don't actually totally solidify till 2 days before closing or the day of closing. And so you do not want to apply for any other loan during the escrow period without speaking with your mortgage broker. If your mortgage broker tells you, hey, here's the situation, it's fine, you can go ahead and buy that new car or whatever, well, that's different. But do not go and apply for any other loan unless you've spoken with your mortgage broker and they've specifically said that that is not going to have a negative effect, because oftentimes it will. So rookie mistake, applying for any other loan during the escrow period. All right. What did we learn? Well, we applied for a mortgage. We navigated all the different parts of the escrow period. And once we had closed and bought the house, we broke down your monthly payment. So now you're there. You understand exactly how these things work, exactly how buying a house works. And from beginning to end, I hope that you're like, okay, I get it. There's a lot of pieces, but I understand it now. I can navigate them, no problem. I feel like a boss. I feel like someone who's going to nail this thing. And I know you are. You're going to be able to, go right through it smoothly, take care of any bumps that do happen, and purchase that home of your dreams. So the last step in this video is pretty simple, 3 parts. I would like you to go over and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We share a whole bunch of great information just like this video you just watched. Please subscribe to our channel so we can get it out to you and go from there. Step 2, please share this video with someone who needs it. So I'd like you to think about it. Do you know someone else who is purchasing a new home or who's purchasing a home at all? Do you know a mortgage broker that might be able to share this video with the folks that work with them? Please share this video with one person who needs it. And then finally, I hope you'll post on your favorite social site this video so that other people can experience it. Good information is only great if people share it, and it's really not even good if people don't share it, because you can't, enjoy something if you don't know it's there. So please post this video on your favorite social sites, and that's awesome. So we will see you the next time. Head over to our YouTube channel if you want to see some more videos. I really appreciate the time you spent watching this video, and I hope you got a ton out of it. If you did, please let me know, and I will see you in the next video or the next place. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.